Okay, first David Letterman is sleeping with staffers. Now it appears as though Jimmy Kimmel is dating a staffer. Is this office romance thing basically a showbiz phenomenon? Or does it go on everywhere? And if so, why don't we hear about dentists getting their groove on at the spit sink? And whose business is it anyway? Joining me now to discuss the cons, pros, and promotions of office relationships are sex columnist and editor of The Stranger, Dan Savage, Leah Goldman of Marie Claire magazine, and Nicole Williams, author of Girl on Top, Your Guide to Turning Dating Rules into Career Success. Well, the information is that Kimmel is going out with the co-head writer on the staff. She started as an assistant in 2003, so she was promoted. In 6 years, she became one of the head writers. What do you think about that? Do you think it's kosher, what went on there, or not?
You know what? Honestly, I work with women all the time. 70% of our waking life, it's spent at work. So inevitably, we're going to meet someone at work who we are going to be attracted to. It's a great, from my perspective, a great place to vet out whether or not this is a potential romantic interest, because you know a little something about their work ethic, their character.
But, you know, the downside is the fact that we're even talking about it, questioning her credentials and saying, you know, does it seem unseemly? You know, it lends credence to the fact that it is unseemly, and invariably people are going to say, did she earn it the old-fashioned way?
Well, that's right. She slept her way to the top.
You know, I'm not saying she did, but it blends.
Well, do you think these girls really care if you ask that question? They're making a big paycheck. What do they care?
Well, the problem is that their colleagues do. I mean, the rest of the women in the office who don't necessarily play that game are left wondering what they have to do to get ahead. And,
do we
and
know
does
that
it
for
take
sure, though?
Well,
do we know that?
Because we're talking about it now.
Well, we're talking about it, but how did it come out? Remember, the Letterman affair wasn't revealed by disgruntled staffers who felt that he was favoring the women he may have had affairs with at work. It was revealed by a disgruntled ex-boyfriend of somebody that he had had an affair with at work. So there doesn't appear to be any workplace discontent with what was going on.
Wait a second.
What's up with Kimmel? How did that come out? Who brought that out?
You don't know, Dan, if everybody was if all those girls over there were disgruntled or not, because they're going to keep their mouths shut. They're not going to start a war at the David Letterman show or at the Kimmel show.
We live in a litigious society where people quit jobs all the time and file lawsuits based on discrimination.
No, I mean,
and I just feel like if this had been going on at Letterman for 20 years and Letterman had been abusing this authority,
he's not abusing,
or promoting women,
I mean, you're
making it somehow
the
conditional, that there would have been a lawsuit before this guy attempted to blackmail
That's not necessarily evidence that there's shenanigans going on. You know, of the few that are there, you know, he's gone now through 4 of them, including his wife. There are certain questions.
Have either of you ever been in an office romance?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I have, Joy.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, and, you know, I was a subordinate. He was my boss.
Where was this?
In a restaurant, actually, while I was putting
you were a waitress?
While I was putting myself through school. Yeah, and because we were working 24/7, we had a connection. And
so
honestly,
did he give you the better shifts?
I maybe, yes.
So to speak.
Yes, I may have had some of those better shifts. But you know what's hard is, like, you don't know initially when you're attracted to someone in the workplace whether or not this is going to be something worth really investing in. So you've got to explore it a bit, and sometimes it does have that, you know, superior-subordinate relationship before you figure out yes or no, and whether or not you're going to quit the job or go to HR. There's a lot of risk attached to this.
Don't you think, Leah, that men are, and also Dan, don't you think men are always going to be attracted to nannies and assistants and interns? Besides the fact that they're dogs, besides that, the fact that these are underlings, that men feel more powerful, and isn't that the problem?
And often women are attracted to these men. Power, as Henry Kissinger said so many decades ago, is the ultimate aphrodisiac.
Well, look at him. Look at him. If you were him, you'd say the same thing.
We shouldn't infantilize women and make them out as if they're children and
well,
say that consent is impossible in these circumstances.
We shouldn't infantilize men either and say they can't keep it zipped up. They like us.
I really like Dan's point, though, because when Now came out and sort of implying that women are victims, that they are not consensually involved in romantic relationships at work, that it's being forced upon them. I sort of call
it's the other girls who were not involved that get ticked off. You know, Barack and Michelle met on the job, and she was his superior. What do you think of that?
That's hot. That's what I think.
That's very apparently so did Barack. But at the time, they were both very low-level employees. He was an intern. She was managing the interns. I mean, this is like, you know, bottom of the rungs here. So it wasn't necessarily.
Okay, so where do you draw the line? Like interns
draw
can
the
only
line
sleep
there.
with interns, managers with managers, staff with staff, and the boss has to go screw himself. Like, where do you draw the line? The question isn't are there power imbalances. The question is in office relationships. The question is there a hostile workplace environment? Is there some sort of quid pro quo? Are people people being coerced? Are people being rewarded? And if the answer to those questions is no, no harm, no fouls.
Well, does this happen in the gay community a lot, Dan? I mean, I don't. And mostly gay men on men is in Congress, it seems.
I'm gay, and I've been managing a large staff at The Stranger for years, and I've actually never had a workplace romance. I think I might be the only one of your guests today who
do you wish
is
you
all
did?
theory and no practice.
Do you wish you did?
No, not really. Maybe the one intern once upon a time, but I kept my hands to myself. I kept it zipped, so even though I'm defending men who couldn't keep it zipped, I've kept it zipped.
Good for you. Here's an interesting statistic from Vault.com, whatever that is, igavault.com. Every year, 8 million Americans enter into at least one romance at work. It's widespread.
Oh, but it's
it happens
than
constantly.
All the time. And that's people who are reporting, Joy. What about all those people who are not reporting? We're pretty much all doing it.
Yeah. What about
all those dentists who aren't getting caught?
All those dentists. But what about, isn't it messy when the thing breaks up?
Oh, that's the worst part. Isn't that the worst part?
Let's go
That's
there.
the worst
It's a horror show.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant for anyone. Nobody likes to be in the conference room next to the guy they just, had a thing with last weekend, and now he's off doing his own
What about
thing.
the fact that
Which
the
is
boss,
why-
wait a minute, what about the boss always wins in that type of situation? She will be fired, not him.
Yeah.
So how do you respond to that, Dan?
Well, I don't think that's always the case. And, we always talk about worst case scenarios where it's a real train wreck when it ends. Most workplace relationships end without anybody even being aware that it began. Most workplace relationships are handled very discreetly because people are careful. We find out about the ones that we find out about, and we don't find out about the ones we don't find out about.
Yeah. So what do you think? At the end of the day, what can we say? Is it okay to date a colleague or not?
Yes.
No, keep your finger in your own honey pot.
I think it's thin ice, and you have to judge these things on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you are on thin ice, and you have to be conscious of that.
Yes.
My goodness knows how many more comedians are going to come out having. I mean, I'd be
I know, we
scared.
have an office pool going on at work.
Who do you think is next?
Well, no comment, but there's. I mean, you must know like
wanna
20
see
people.
Ella.
I know nothing. I work at
Joy,
a
you have a
lesbian
show. You have a show, Joy. You have staffers and writers and interns. What are you
Nothing
getting
happens
up to?
at The View. Nothing ever happens there. It's all women. It's estrogen laden. So nothing ever really goes on over there. But I've been in situations where
I've
they
seen the way
have.
Elizabeth looks at you.
She just had a baby.
Yours?
So anyway, thank you so much for coming on, you guys. You were very interesting, all of you.